The paper is a thin non-woven material primarily used for writing, artwork, and packaging, usually made by mechanically or chemically processing cellulose fibers derived from wood or other vegetable sources in water, followed by draining the water and leaving the fiber evenly distributed on the surface, a process followed by pressing and drying. From this video, you will learn about what writing materials people were using before the invention of paper, how the paper was invented, and how its usage has evolved over time. Before the invention of paper, in China, the oldest inscriptions were carved on bones and shells from the late 13th century BC until around 500 BC, when they began to write on bamboo stalks. Birch bark writing was used in India from the 1st century AD and in some parts of Russia during the Middle Ages. Palm leaves were used as writing materials in South Asia and in Southeast Asia, dating back to the 5th century BC and possibly much earlier. Ancient Mediterranean civilizations used clay tablets for sophisticated accounting systems, while ancient Athenians used broken pieces of pottery, known as ostraca, to record the individual nominations of Greek leaders for ostracism. In Egypt, papyrus was used as a writing surface from the 3rd millennium BC. Papyrus was made from the pith of the papyrus plant, and the word paper is etymologically derived from papyrus. Papyrus was also used by the Greeks and Romans until the 1st century BC, when it was replaced by the parchment, a cheaper alternative to the papyrus. Parchment was made from goat, sheep, or cow skin for the first time around the 5th century BC and was used in Europe until the Middle Ages. The exact date or the inventor of the paper are not known. The earliest extant paper fragment was unearthed at Fangmatan in Gansu province, China, and was likely part of a map dated to 179 to 141 BC. The Han Dynasty Chinese court official Cai Lun is credited as the inventor of a method of papermaking inspired by wasps and bees, using rags and other plant fibers in 105 AD. Cai Lun became famous after his invention and received the title of Marquis and lordship of a small village. He committed suicide in 121 AD after a false rumor spread that he intended to harm the newly ascended Emperor An. Cai Lun's standardization of paper and the paper-making process are considered enormously impactful to human history, spreading literature and knowledge around the world, as well as revolutionizing the means of communication. The Chinese used paper for padding and wrapping, and starting around the late 6th century, they used it as toilet paper. During the Tang dynasty, paper was used to make tea bags, and during the Song dynasty, the Chinese government produced the world's first known paper money, or banknotes. The origami, or the art of paper folding, appeared in Japan in the 6th century. After printing was popularized in China during the Song dynasty, the demand for paper grew substantially, and in the year 1101, 1.5 million sheets of paper were sent to the Chinese capital. After its origin in central China, the production and use of paper spread steadily, arriving to Vietnam in the 3rd century, to Korea in the 4th century, to Japan in the 5th century, and to India in the second half of the 7th century. Paper was used in Central Asia by the 8th century, but its origin is not clear. According to some sources, Chinese prisoners captured by the Abbasid Caliphate in the Battle of Talas in 751 introduced paper manufacturing to Samarkand and the Middle East. During the 8th century, paper started to replace parchment as the primary writing material for administrative uses in Baghdad, the capital of the Abbasids. The expansion of public and private libraries and illustrated books within Islamic lands was one of the notable outcomes of a drastic increase in the availability of paper. Eventually, paper arrived to Europe, the oldest known paper document being the Mozarabic Missal of Silas from the 11th century. The first recorded paper mill in the Iberian Peninsula was in Sativa in 1056. Paper mills were established in the Italian peninsula and in France until 1300, and the papermaking spread then to the rest of Europe in the next 2 centuries. In 1450, German inventor Johannes Gutenberg developed the world's first mechanical movable type printing press. His invention started the printing revolution, playing a key role in the development of the Renaissance, Reformation, Age of Enlightenment, and Scientific Revolution, as well as laying the material basis for the modern knowledge-based economy and the spread of learning to the masses. In 1774, German jurist Justus Klaproth invented a process of removing printing inks from paper, allowing it to be reused, known today as de-inking. In 1806, Henry Fourdrinier developed the Fourdrinier machine, the first papermaking machine. The machine was an industrialized version of the historical hand papermaking method, which could not satisfy the demands of developing modern society for large quantities of printing and writing materials. In 1844, Canadian Charles Fenerty and German Friedrich Gottlob Keller had invented the machine and associated process to make use of wood pulp in papermaking. This innovation ended the nearly 2000-year use of pulp drugs and started a new era for papermaking. With the introduction of cheaper paper, books, newspapers, personal diaries and letters became more and more widespread by the end of the 19th century. In 1922 was published in Germany a standard system of paper formats to increase the efficiency of producing office furniture. This finally became both an international standard known as ISO 216, as well as the United Nations document format in 1975, and it is today used in almost all countries with a few exceptions. During the 20th century, the technology behind the paper machine developed further so that the production speed and the quality of the produced paper increased. Now, at the beginning of the 21st century, the paper is considered a cheap commodity, which usually led to a high level of consumption and waste. The demand for tree-free paper products is rising, while there is a trend towards sustainability in the pulp and paper industry.